Okay. This month is starting to get to me a little bit. There's plenty of movies I'd rather be watching, but I said I was going to do a bad movie month. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. Okay. So, for today, um, question: what do Adam West, surfers, vampires, Carmen Electra have in common? The answer should be nothing. Instead, we got American Vampire, also known as An American Vampire Story. Oh, boy. This movie is fascinating in a way for the subject matter alone. I will say this is a very slimline box. I ended up picking this one up at Walmart's many years ago in a dollar bin. It was worth that at least, I guess. And it gives me something to talk about. Though I will say the cover here is, well, I don't know if that's supposed to be Carmen Electra on the cover, but there's no one with that symbol that appears in the movie. And she's out for blood. The main vampire is a dude, so most of this here is misleading. And Carmen Electra is barely in this, really. I mean, she's off and on, but she's not what I call a main character. And as for how great the effects are, well, look at those vampire effects right there. Yeah. Oh, boy. But, I digress. This movie's absurdity really comes from the plot and the characters. So, young Frankie's parents are going away for the summer, so he's got the house to himself. And he gets the note, just take care of the house, there's enough food in the fridge to last you. How they expect food to last all summer, 3 months? I don't know. A little weird. We have to go grocery shopping every week or two. Anyway, that's minor point. So him and his best friend Bogey just want to hang out, relax, and get girls over the summer. Okay, fine. While hanging out late at the beach one night, they live in California, so there's a lot of surf shots. Well, not really any actual surfing going on, just shots of the beach and of the surf itself. But that night they meet Eric Ziffer, I think he calls himself, or Count Eric. But he prefers to go by Moondoggy, as his friends call him. And he will be our vampire for the evening. Yes, the vampire's name is Moondoggy. So, Bogey lets slip that Frankie's home is empty for the summer, and hey, you can come party with us all summer. And, well, later that night, Count Moondoggy shows up with two women, Katrina, I think, and I'm even struggling to remember their names, Solka. Now, Solka is the one that's played by Carmen Electra. Those two, all their serve is to hang on around Moondoggy looking seductive and occasionally attack someone. And anyway, so now Frankie has to deal with a trio of vampires living in his house. For the most part, they're leaving him alone, but they are preying on the neighbors, and the vampire's manservant, Bruno, is eating the local pets. He's going to be our Renfield for this outing. And I will say, he's kind of the best thing in the movie, because he's kind of funny. He's ridiculous. The whole movie is a horror comedy, if you haven't guessed by now, but it struggles to be funny. It is fascinating, but I wouldn't call it funny, except for a lot of the stuff that Bruno's doing. He's played by, I have to actually check that, Sidney Lassick, and he does a great job in that. The movie is worth it just for watching him, really. Anyway, as people begin to go missing, and as Count Moondoggy begins making a play for Frankie's girlfriend, Frankie realizes he's got to do something about all these vampires in his house, especially as he keeps worrying about his dog Fluffy being eaten by the Renfield knockoff. So he consults a palm reader who directs him to Dr. Van Helsingmeister. Apparently, his family is what Bram Stoker based Dr. Van Helsing on, supposedly, in this continuity. So, because I guess Von Helsingmeister doesn't roll off the tongue nearly as well. Upon being directed to him, Dr. Van Helsing Meister is played by Adam West, but he prefers to go by the Big Kahuna. He's pretty much lives in a trailer on the beach, dresses in Shea Hawaiian, and carries a big staff around. And he's apparently a surf champ. Again, there's no actual surfing in this movie, but both him and Moondoggy seem to be surfers. They just use the lingo a lot. And that's pretty much it. It's then Adam West versus Count Moondoggy. And Frankie has to pick up the slack as the Big Kahuna is kind of useless. Yeah, that's really it for the movie. The movie's about 140 minutes, but it pads itself to get to there. There's a lot of music numbers that are just people showing dancing to bands playing. So a lot of little dancing. There's scenes of people playing volleyball. It just cuts around to those. So it spends a little bit of time just lingering on beach fun rather than actually advancing anything for a while. The movie's not really that funny. It's just more strange than anything. And it's definitely not scary in the slightest, so it kind of fails on both accounts. Though I do say I did get some chuckles out of Bruno making neighborhood pets disappear and eventually including their gardener, whose name was Nacho. He turns them into nachos. Ha. But the way you go about it and the voice he uses it's pretty. He's the main selling point of this movie. The two lead kids, Frankie's okay. He's the lackluster everyman, but his friend Bogey, you just want to shake this kid for half of it. He's an idiot. He's the comic relief best friend that, in a comedic movie, you don't need comic relief, and this kid is, every step of the way, he's just going to get himself killed. Every time he opens his mouth, he makes things worse for the main character. And that's even before the vampires show up. So, yeah, this one, give it a pass. It's not really worth your time. Even with the few selling points of seeing Adam West in something again, and the Bruno portrayal, I still can only really give this one a 1 MacGuffin. It's almost a 2, but that isn't saying much. So, yes, American Vampire, like most movies this month, I'm saying to skip it. Oh, what are we on? This is the 15th into the 16th now. So, I'm roughly halfway done. Okay. We'll get there. I've got more than my fair share of bad movies that I could put on through this, so I'm not going to run out of movies anytime soon. I don't know if I'm going to do another bad movie month. These are hard to sit down and watch. Every once in a while, sprinkling them in, it's fun. It can be fun, but on an unending loop, it gets rough. Have a good night, everyone.